Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. All right, welcome to another segment of RefTime. We have the wonderful, the great, the one and only Mr. Dion Malone.
How y'all doing out there? How y'all doing?
Oh, he got the deep voice.
He got the bass.
The deep Barry voice. Barry White voice. Watch out, ladies. Watch out. All right, Mr. Malone, thanks for joining us.
No problem,
All the
man.
way from
Appreciate you
Texas.
having me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Dallas,
Yes.
Texas.
I'm glad you were in town.
Yeah,
to be
we are
able
lucky to have you on.
Yeah.
No, it's my pleasure.
So you don't
He
know
always has all the right things to say, doesn't he?
That's why I'm watching him. So you don't know much about RefTime.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay. Well, let's tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you hail from, where you started out, where you ended up, and what got you to Fort Wayne.
Gotcha. Okay. So born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Born in 1994. That's about 29 years ago. I moved to Dallas, Texas around 15 years old. My mom found a job. She was a counselor, high school counselor, and she found a higher paying job in Texas. And so my father was retired, so we followed suit to Texas. I went to high school my junior and senior year. Was a good high school player, averaged about 18 and 8, nothing too major, things
What
like
sport?
that. Basketball.
Okay.
Basketball, so I played basketball. Played varsity a couple of years, just 2 years out of those 4.
Now, wait a minute. You said you averaged 18 and 8.
Yeah.
18 what and 8 what?
18 points.
And 8 what?
Assists.
Oh, I thought you were going to say rebound. I'm saying
No. I'm not.
You ain't
I'm
a
not,
big fella.
No, I'm not
Hey,
tall
that
on the
don't matter.
statue.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what-
if the big fellas are doing their job, the little fellas come in there and grab
That's
the ball.
why I wasn't saying
Hey.
it wasn't possible. I was just asking.
Okay,
You know, I
you
wanted-
sounded a little doubtful.
He
there.
said 18 and 8. I mean, I could be 18
You're right.
points and 18
I should have been more
rebounds.
specific on that.
No, that's all right, because when you're not
right.
specific, I'm going to ask, because
Okay,
that's what I
okay.
does.
Okay, that's what you do. Okay,
That's what I
I'll
do.
make sure I am. But no, 18 points. It wasn't the best caliber high school ball, but it got me enough to gain a scholarship going D2.
Oh, well,
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, after D2, I hurt myself and got cut, so I had to rearrange some things. So I went to NAIA, played a
Okay.
couple of years there, still getting tuition paid for. And
Playing at
Yes, sir.
NAIA?
Hey.
What
Play-
school?
Jarvis Christian.
What is it?
Jarvis Christian. It's
Jarvis?
Jarvis, yes, sir.
Jarvis?
VIS, yes,
Where's
sir.
it at?
That's in Hawkins, Texas.
Oh, okay.
It's about an hour from Tyler, Texas,
I
East
didn't-
Texas.
And see, I didn't realize NAIA was all over the country.
Really?
I thought NAIA was exclusive to just this part of the country. I didn't realize it was everywhere.
No, NAIA has a national tournament every year, just like the NCAA
You're
tournament.
right. You're right.
Mhm.
I knew that, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So it's
So,
everywhere.
does anybody know the number of NAIA schools in the country?
In the country total? No, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I guess
have
that's
no
why we
idea.
have smartphones, huh? So we'll
Right.
do that after the show. We'll look
Right,
it
we
up.
could look that
Yeah.
up. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, NAIA, they're really we say the D1 rejects, ones that's not handled business in school or things like that. They come down to play NAIA and go off. But
I could kind of tell because the way you said when you got hurt, and then you said, and then I your voice went down. Well, I went to NAIA school,
Uh-huh.
so you kind of lessened it. And I'm thinking I played NAIA, and that was the best thing of my
oh
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
My conference was tough. It's called the Red River. It was real tough, and
Mhm.
I went from 18 in high school to about 10 in college. So
High school
Right,
and
and it
college,
changed
2
my
different
game,
worlds.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, because then in
Absolutely.
college you got more of a role,
correct.
a hardcore role that you have
Correct.
to play as a
Right.
player.
Absolutely. And so I had to fit into that role. I was a knockdown shooter, come in, give him some energy off the bench, just a couple steals, about 10, 15 minutes a game, and that's about it. If I'm hot, I stay on, but if I'm
you're
not,
you
I'm
sit
gone.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So I accepted the role. I knew
Mhm.
it was way better ball players than me. It was a guy averaging about 25, 27 points a
On
game.
that level.
On that
that's-
level.
Was he taller than you?
No, it wasn't. He was about, well, everybody's that much taller than me, but he's about,
He wasn't that much taller than you.
yeah,
though, right?
he's about 6'2", 6'3". He wasn't.
And what are you?
I'm about 5'7" on a good day.
Okay.
5'6" if I don't got the right shoes
5-6 inches. That's significant difference. That's and was he stronger too?
on. No, actually, he wasn't. He was allergic to the weight room.
Love those.
But he was savvy. That's why I say like basketball is just about what you bring to the table. everybody's just different. He didn't do weights, but he was crafty. He knew how to score, knew how to create fouls and things like that. So
He was quick.
No,
Really?
he was slow.
But he's just smart.
He knew angles.
Okay.
His attack was about angles. He knew how to re-attack, find your hip. He was a good ball player.
I knew a guy like that in college. He was tall, he's skinny, dorking looking, but he was a leading scorer. And he transferred into our NAIA school from a D2.
Really?
So he came in, he was a much more intelligent player. His name was Tom. And I remember going to his dorm room. I was talking to him, I was like, dude, how do you do what you do? And he just looked at me and laughed. I said, I'm serious. He goes, Crane, I noticed in practice you always want to guard me. I'm trying to learn what you know.
Right.
And he goes, so you really think you can come to my dorm room, pick my brain, and figure out how to stop me so you can take my spot? I was like, no, it ain't about that. But he was just crafty, like you said. I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're fine.
You just bringing back stories.
No, that's
bringing back
good.
memories.
That's good. I've been like, man, see, he was the type of player to also, he wouldn't mind talking to you and things like that. I'm glad you brought that up because he knew he was good. He knew his spot wasn't going to be taken. So he, if you wanted pointers and things like that, he'd help you out. But we all knew nobody's taking his spot.
Yeah. Same with Tom.
Yeah.
He knew it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you figured all that out going to NAIA school.
I did.
What made you fall in love with playing basketball in the first place?
That's a great question. Because it wasn't my first love. My first love was actually baseball. I still, to this day, feel like I should have kept playing baseball. That was honestly my first love, but I was scared of getting hit by a pitch. Got to a certain age, they started throwing too fast, and we had a wild pitcher. He was like throwing 90 in like third or fourth grade. Couldn't handle it.
Throwing 90 in third or fourth grade?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Was he a big kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
We called him Duke.
Fits.
And so, but it was wild.
Yeah.
It was 90, but he was just slinging it. He didn't have any accuracy
control.
and things like that. And it got close one day, and
Yeah.
And my parents was one of those, you're going to try every sport. So that was the first one. I liked it. Didn't want the ball. And then turned to football. Didn't like getting hit. I used out of bounds too much. Jersey was too clean after that. And then basketball was it was a little physical. I could be a little physical and not too much. You know what I'm saying? Things like that.
Yeah.
And that's when I started liking it a little bit. Started watching Allen Iverson. Grew up on that. Watching him play, smallest guy on the court. Translated to me. So and that's how I fell in love with it. But honestly, it wasn't my first love. I had to fall in love with it.
So your family, who, brothers, sisters?
I am the middle child. I have an older brother and younger sister.
Did they play sports?
My brother played baseball. My sister was a gymnast. She did gymnastics.
So your whole family is athletes.
Oh yeah, we had to do something.
Did your dad play?
He played baseball.
Okay.
My mom played softball.
Okay.
Wow. You come from a family of athletes.
Yeah.
That's nice. So, what are you doing now?
Right now, I am actually a basketball referee. I referee collegiate basketball, high school basketball in Texas. I do that, and I work on the side of Southwest Airlines.
Okay.
Nice little cargo, nice little workout. But right now, I'm trying to pursue the league, the NBA. That's the goal. But right now, I'm in the college ranks. Got a couple camps coming up this upcoming summer, a couple D2, a couple D1 camps. Just trying to network and just get my face out there.
Yeah.
One thing I find interesting that I heard, you asked him what he did for a living. He put refereeing first, which is still a growing thing, isn't it? And he put his main income second, which is a good attitude as a ref.
That's because he wants to transition and make one more than the other.
And the job right now is just it's funding the main interest, which is reffing.
Absolutely.
And you officiate on the men's side.
Correct.
At the collegiate level.
Correct. On the men's side.
And are you NAIA, D1, where are you
right
at?
now, currently NAIA D3.
D3.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
So, obviously, you have a love for officiating.
Yeah, we're going through the growing pains right now.
Yeah.
Not making a lot, but sacrificing a lot. It's a long journey. So you just got to enjoy it. Things like that. It's
take the opportunities when they come.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been an official?
I just completed my third season.
Okay. What made you want to get into officiating?
My high school coach. I graduated high school. Basketball player, like I said. He just threw me out there. He was like, "Do you want to make some money?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, I need somebody to come ref these games real quick." I was like, "Okay." So I ref. Didn't know what I was doing. Just blowing the whistle. out of bounds. No
just
thing.
threw a jersey on.
Yep.
Put
It
a
was no
whistle around your
fouls.
neck.
Everything was just out of bounds because when I played, I didn't pick up. I didn't like fouls. Even though I know I got fouled, I'm not calling that. So it was just out of bounds and things like that. So yeah, I was like, I can control the game a little bit different from when I was playing. So okay, let me see what this is about. And started taking it a little serious. I started doing some training and things like that. YouTube helped a lot, and actually playing a video game. I'm a big 2K fan, so just being around the rules, seeing that, I'm a visual learner, so I see a referee throw his hands up and things like that. So I was like, okay, I kind of like that. And so now I just dived into it deeper, started reading the book more. And then I was doing an AAU game, and the guy was like, man, you're kind of good. He told me, don't be an AAU ref. Get certified. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is back in 2019. I graduated college and didn't know what I wanted to do. And so he's like, man, just sign up. I was like, okay. So I signed up with a chapter. Didn't know anything about 3-man. I'm a visual learner, so I watch basketball all the time. So all I knew was a triangle. Just fit the pieces. And I'm, like I said, a visual learner, so I just stood in the place. Did not know what I was looking at. I saw a foul. I'm looking across the paint now, and I know it's not in my primary. I'm like calling fouls. But they was the right calls, and I was at my first camp, and everybody knew, so they gave me a chance. And so ever since then, I just took it. And I would say this year I kind of said to myself, this is my purpose. Because it came naturally and things like that. And so I'm a big God-fearing man, so I just have some couple conversations with him, and he gave me the platform.
Nice.
So your real, I guess, exposure to what we might call real officiating came at a camp when they started telling you about primaries and
Correct.
Staying within your primary and that kind of thing. And a lot of people, you're right. And it's an interesting point you made. Your high school coach or somebody said, don't be an AAU ref, get certified. I find that very interesting because we talk about that sometimes. There's a lot of people who come up to us at some of these AAU tournaments. Well, they used to. We don't really do them anymore.
Right.
But when we did them, people would come up and say, hey, yeah, I heard you guys are the ones that can help me. I'm like, help you what? And I already know what they're talking about.
Right.
And they'll say, learn about officiating. I'm going, oh, okay, so you want to take your test? Oh, I already passed the test. Okay. And I'm like, well.
This is our link. That's what I tell them.
Yeah,
Go to
'cause I'm like,
reftrainingschool.com and you can get registered.
That's what RTS is about. It's about helping you get licensed, and they say, well, I don't need that. Yeah, but you don't know what to do with what your license allows you to do.
And interpreting the rules.
Right.
Like we go through the the rule book, we go through the rules, and we help to interpret the rules from an official standpoint versus, hey, that's over the back,
Right.
When we have that in the stands. And so, we help to guide them and, how to apply the rules and, the mechanics and the positioning. So, we go through all of that. Of course, when we start new people out, we start them out in a 2-person format, though.
Okay.
Because that's what they're going to be doing, as you did.
Because they're not going to jump out there and be a high school
3-person.
official and do a 3-person, unless they just have that buddy network.
Right.
I don't know if is it different in Texas, or is it pretty much the same?
Now it's a changed ball game. It's about, it's always about who you know, but if you can handle it, they'll throw you out there. They feel like you can handle it.
Who is they?
The coordinators, the signers.
Now, you said you have a chapter.
Right. That's chapter is in high school. You have a high school chapter, and then you have a college assigner.
Okay.
So those are two different people.
So the chapter, is that just a certain region?
Correct. Certain city in that state.
Okay. So are you only part of one chapter
Correct.
then?
Correct.
But you can be part of multiple.
Correct. You can be dual. They call it dual chapter, but each chapter has their own requirements for playoffs. So a dual may be hard because you have to do a certain other chapter and then another chapter's requirements to get playoffs, and so you may be out of luck if you can't handle both. Okay. So that's why it's best just to stay home to one chapter and just do their requirements.
Okay.
And I would think it'd be different in Texas because you guys are so much more rural than Indiana. It's so much more spread out.
It is.
You guys got 2 or 3 major cities. You got
Correct.
Dallas, Houston. What's the one down south?
San Antonio.
San Antonio, right. Also other different chapters too. So you got Dallas area, you got North Texas and things like that. So that's all Dallas in one city.
See, we have in Indiana, we have what what are called associations.
Okay.
Not
So,
chapters, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we can actually, and it all feeds into the same tournament, so it doesn't matter. So like we're part of the NEIAOA Association, which is the Northeast Indiana Association.
And they
Okay.
cover Fort Wayne and all the surrounding towns.
Yeah,
Okay.
like and Angola, Columbia City, things like that. And then I'm also part of what we call Lime City Association, and Lime City does southern part of Fort Wayne, so they do like Huntington and that area there. So it's a little bit smaller of an association.
Got you.
But I became part of the association last year because I started heading up the volleyball training side of that for the officials. I forget what my
So
actual
your title
is.
is the volleyball
chair.
chairperson.
There we go. I'm a
The
volleyball
chairperson.
chair.
So you standing on top. Is that the chairperson?
So no. So
It's not.
the volleyball chair is the position that I hold within that association.
Oh, okay.
So I hold meetings that are put out from the IHSAA.
Got you.
So IHSAA is our Indiana High School Association, which is our the full governing body underneath the NFHS. And so then it's just layers.
Okay.
And so,
Now you're familiar with the NFHS.
Correct.
oh yeah,
You know
it's
what they
the rule
do?
book.
I don't know. They make the rules.
Exactly.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
And what's ironic is the NFHS, a lot of people don't know that, they write the rules for all the
All the
high school
states.
rules around all 50 states,
Correct.
but they're located in Indiana. The
Yeah.
home office is located in Indiana.
Really?
The
Yeah,
NFHS, yeah.
NFHS. NFHS and also the IHSAA, which is the governing body, like she said, of the state of Indiana for high school sports. You guys have something equivalent to IHSAA as well. So
Yeah.
what is yours called?
TABC.
TAB. What does that stand for?
Texas Association Basketball.
TABC.
TABC.
Okay.
I forgot what the C
I can
stood
look it up later, but it's
Yeah.
probably Texas
for. Association
of Basketball
Committee maybe.
Committee, something
yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So every state has a TABC or an IHSAA,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they all report to or get governed by the NFHS, who writes the rules.
Got you.
So when a lot of people are, when a lot of
Okay.
people are fans and whoever are arguing about the rules or saying this, that, and the other, they don't realize that the three of us, when it comes to high school basketball, our job is just to enforce the NFHS rules as adopted by the
Each state.
TABC or the IHSAA, because they make variations. Our job is just to enforce the rules that are written nationally. People don't know that. And I'm
Okay.
looking at people like you yelling. Number one, you don't know the rules and you don't know how the
Right.
flow goes.
Yeah.
And then from state to state, so say you're doing an AAU tournament in Michigan. Well, Michigan might have a tweak in the rule.
But they
versus-
use IHSA. I mean, they use.
Okay.
They use NFHS,
they
but
say
they can
high school
tweak it
rules.
to whatever Michigan rules, whatever they
For
want.
that,
So say
yeah.
Michigan has the shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, their rules are going to be a little bit different than Indiana because Indiana doesn't have a shot clock yet. So
Right.
they're going to have that adaptability in that other state. So they tweak things based on the state. Like we've heard before that when you go to Ohio, at the end of the game, the buzzer is the end of the game. That is it. That's when you don't have to blow your whistle as an official. Whereas in Indiana, at the end of the game, not only do you have the buzzer, but you also have an official who blows their whistle to say that's the end of the game. And whether we're waving off a basket or we're just saying boop, that's the end of the game.
Right.
And then we all take off. So there's little variations from state to state. People don't realize that, and then that's not really a rule per se. That's just something that is.
That's part of the culture.
Yeah.
Now, is it that way in Texas? How does the end of the game work in
Oh
high
yeah,
school?
we blow the whistle.
Blow the
Blow
whistle.
the whistle.
We had a guy that came in. I think Chan was licensed. I think in
California.
California. No,
Colorado, I thought.
no, Arizona. I think was another
Okay,
one.
maybe Arizona and Texas, I think.
Yeah, Texas. So he calls us. Well, he found us on Facebook. Calls us up. Wants to go through the class. And I'm like, dude, you've worked 3 different states. Why do you need us?
Right.
And he goes, because I need to get acclimated to Indiana.
Because
Okay,
he was
cool.
moving here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So-
now Chan moved here, went through our class. Very, very good learner. Very coachable. Went to many camps.
He had educated us on 2-person, though. It was kind of funny because
Yeah, it's different.
we were like, well, you're going to start out 2-person because nobody knows you here, and that even though he should have automatically gone
He should have.
high school. 'cause
He's there
he
now.
already knew what he was doing.
So is it hard to get in high school then? If you're new?
They say,
Yes
it
and
takes
no.
3 to 5 years before they'll move you from,
But it's
You
who
know,
you know in that
yeah.
realm. So yes and no.
and who sees you and, you can make friends with.
Gotcha.
I
See,
mean,
that's
you
the
know how it
difference.
is.
Yeah.
That's the difference down there in Texas. If you're good and you can handle it, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. You're going to get them games.
Well, let me ask you this. In Texas, how many female officials do you see on the court, on the varsity level of high school?
I see quite a few.
Okay.
Because we separate them. We do women's and men's also on the high school side.
So the women do mostly women's?
Sometimes. Most of the time they do women's.
Do you see very many doing boys games?
Not that many. Not that
And
many.
see
Is that a choice or is that just because
is that
they're
because
women?
of culture down there?
I would
So-
say choice.
Really?
Choice. There's some women out there. We
Have you
definitely.
asked them?
Some of them want to do those games.
But
No,
there's none
it's-
that want to do boys?
So
No,
you,
they don't. They don't
so
want,
you can't do both?
They can do both. They can
Okay.
do both. Yeah, we have some women who do both. Absolutely. I have a couple women on our men's staff that do.
So do most of the guys, do any of them mind doing girls basketball in high school? Do they want to?
My age, no, we don't want to do girls.
Why not?
We just feel like it's slow.
Okay.
Honestly, we
Okay.
it's a choice. We just don't feel like it's just too slow. We get disengaged, things
Yeah.
like that.
understandable.
That's just my age. My
No,
my.
Well, you're
my
missing
era.
out on the Angel Reeses and the Caitlin Clarks. I'm just
Right,
saying.
right.
But those are so far in between.
So far, yeah.
Right.
Far. So the men, the older men in Texas, do you
Mhm.
see them doing girls high school?
Yes,
And they're happy with that
yes,
because it's a slower pace.
yes, and they get paid the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So they-
you've seen basketball in Indiana, Illinois, and Texas.
Mhm.
Is it similar in high school, would you say?
As far as officiating, are we talking about the game?
The game right now. I'm talking
Playing.
about the playing of the
players.
game, the quality of basketball. Is it better in one state than another, or
Well, I'm gonna say Texas the best.
okay?
Texas the best.
You really believe that, or are you just saying that?
No, I know we produce a lot of NBA prospects, NBA athletes, and things like that.
Because Indiana is known for basketball. now.
They are known for basketball. The Midwest is definitely known for basketball.
So how can you sit there and say Texas is better? See,
Because
you're just being biased.
No, I'm not. I've been in both worlds. I've been in both worlds. I seen the Derrick
Yeah.
Rose. I grew up on Derrick Rose, Simeon. So I done seen that, and I actually had an Illinois team in my Hoop Fest.
Okay.
It's a Hoop Fest in Duncanville, and I had a St. Louis team called what's that name? Cardinal Ritter, and Fashawn, and there was Midwest teams, and compared to the Texas teams, they just didn't have enough.
Now, did you play in Indiana as well? Or, I'm sorry, you grew up in Illinois.
Correct.
So did you play in Illinois?
I didn't play varsity.
Okay.
I didn't get any touch with varsity, so I couldn't compare as a player.
So on the level that you did play,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you moved to Texas, you played at the varsity level.
Correct.
So you really can't compare the two because you didn't play lower
Well,
level
back-
in Texas.
Right. Back when I was that was like 20. I graduated high school 13, so like 2011. That was like Derrick Rose. I didn't have no chance with that.
Mhm.
But as I got older, my senior year, the level went down a little bit.
Mhm.
But now it's revamped. Now Texas it's just different.
And I've heard that before, but I thought that Texas was more known for football.
Right. And they
Yeah.
are, and they still are. It's both. It's getting,
Texas Longhorns, just
Correct.
known for football.
Yeah.
and it's becoming a powerhouse too. We have the best high school team in Texas. High school team in the nation.
Okay.
Got Duncanville and DeSoto, best two teams, and that's in Texas.
So I have a quick question on officiating side, because that's one of the things that we talk about on the podcast is the need of officials.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously here in the state of Indiana, we've talked about that there's a shortage. We've actually said, nationwide there's a shortage.
Correct.
So do you feel, even in your area in Texas, that there is a shortage? Are you guys seeing that? How are you guys handling that particular
The
part?
need for officials.
The need, yeah. What does your chapter do, or what are they doing to curb, I guess, the need for officials?
We're like you said, in a little shortage also, but we're not. We have a spike coming through right now in our area. We have actually young people who want to officiate. They sit down and watch games, which I was surprised. It wasn't like this when I first started.
Mhm.
It was just the older cats and nobody really want to learn. But now it's just this wave that's coming down that people just want to learn. I would say what's really hindering is the parents and things like that, which is creating that shortage. But when there's a shortage, we're just double booked.
Yeah.
We just got to work.
Now you say the parents is part of the problem. In what respect?
Because some people don't use this as a career. Some people just use this as a job, and they're coming off of work and getting yelled at for a game that it's not even that serious. It's serious. It is very serious, but at the end of the day, it's not life or death.
Right.
And the way they get treated, and some people just don't want to deal with that. And I understand it. And just the career and the path I'm trying to go, I suck it up because I'm going to hear worse. But everybody's not the same. Everybody's not doing it for a career. Some people just honestly just doing it for a paycheck, which is totally fine and doesn't make it right for parents to be doing that. But at the same time, nobody wants to deal with that.
Right.
Which is creating a lot of shortages. But it's like I said, there's some people down there in Dallas that actually want it, that's enduring that, and they want it, and I applaud them.
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that philosophy from? That people are looking at this as a job versus a career. Where'd that come from?
It's just mannerisms. I pick up on people's mannerisms, how they carry themselves, the way they talk, the way they prepare for the game, and things like that. Just the way you dress and how you come into a game. Are you serious or not? And by that, in our conversation, I can just tell. Or they flat out tell me, "Hey, I'm just here for a check." Sometimes I've had to do a JV game before, not too good for that. And people are like, "I'm just here for a check." That's okay. And so you
know where they're coming from,
right?
You can
so
readjust.
we don't even have to talk,
right? Because you already know
we
how
already
they're
know
going to be.
we
two different levels.
Yeah. So I know just from watching you a little bit over the past few months that one of the things that, because you were talking about preparing just a second ago, and I if I read you correctly, I'm pretty sure in your preparation for games you watch a lot of your own games. So you watch yourself, you record yourself during games at times. You also have friends that also watch you and give you tips. So what other things do you do? And I guess how does that help you in preparing for that next game or that next level?
Just keeps you self-talk. You want to self-talk. People say on the court, you want to self-talk off the court too. You want to hype yourself up and be prepared for the next level. I'm a planner. I like to plan my days out ahead of time, so I'm always preparing mentally and physically for those things. When it comes game day, I do a lot of mill work, and I do a lot of imagination. I like to make up plays, and I like to make up signals just to keep me sharp. Just say I'm just walking around cleaning, I got a foul, so I just try to have fun. Because I think that's what the world is losing a little bit, because like I said, the fans, it's the fun. Gotta have fun, gotta be creative, gotta actually like love it, because it's going to be hard and you're going to have trials and tribulations. So if you lose your fun in the art of the game, what are you doing it for? The check, which is fine, but I'm not doing it for that. So it's just one of those where I just mentally prepare myself. Like I'm already 5-10 years down the road. I'm in Game 7 NBA Finals of what I'm going to do, what call I'm going to miss, and how I'm going to react, because I know I'm going to miss something. It's about how you overcome that. So that's just how I think mentally. I'm just down the road, and when something shifts, and I have to work on this, when something shifts and doesn't go as planned, I get a little irritated. And so I'm working at, as I get older and more mature, to be like, okay, let's go over that hump and just
readjust.
Just readjust and things like that. So that's.
Are you mentoring any young people, Dion?
No, I'm young. I'm still trying to mentor myself. Honestly, just trying to learn myself.
Well, one thing that we've found is that you learn when you teach other people. So that's part of referee training school is what we do. We go through the rule books. I'm going through this rule book 2 or 3 times a year, 4 times, depending on how many classes we hold. But every time we teach a class, I learn something new, and it's the same book. I'm looking at the same book every year, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is a rule. So we're running out of time, but I know he wanted to pose some trick questions or some questions for you.
Why do you say they're trick questions? If he's on his game like he's told the world that he is,
I'm gonna ask,
there is no such thing as trick questions.
I'm gonna ask you the one question that I had in my head.
Okay.
Because I actually had the situation happen during a sectional game.
Look at him, he's got his thinking face.
A couple years ago.
I gotta put
you got to put your face on.
He's
right here.
He's in his zone.
I'm on the court. I'm trying to see what's going to happen.
All right.
Going to his referee mode.
All right, so we've got a jump ball. Okay, got a jump ball. Possession's mine. right? So I'm going to take the ball out of bounds. Referee hands me the ball. I go to pass the ball in, and he kicks it. So now I've got a kickball. We're going to give
Is this high school, college? What is
high
it?
school.
High school.
Yes.
Okay.
So obviously on a kick, that's not inbounded properly, right? So the ball comes back to me, right? So I'm going to take the ball back out of bounds again.
So the defense kicks it.
Yeah, the defense kicked
Right.
it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So the defense kicked it on my inbound after a jump ball. Okay, so we had a jump ball. I'm taking the ball out of bounds because it's our possession.
Okay.
On the arrow. I go to inbound. Defense kicks it
Because I got quick feet.
because he's got long legs.
The possession doesn't change yet.
So
Uh-huh.
I take the ball out of bounds. I inbound the ball. My team gets it. We're dribbling around. Does the arrow change?
When you say you inbounded the ball, it has the time.
So I've
You
inbounded
started.
the ball properly.
Successfully inbounded.
Successfully inbounded the ball. The clock has started.
Once
Does the arrow change?
you gain possession.
Why?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
If
You're saying
inbound-
the arrow changes.
Yeah, once you gain possession.
And she's asking, why does it change?
Because you change possession.
What kind of answer is that?
You say. So you're saying
Okay.
you inbounded it, off a kick ball.
After the ball was kicked.
Right.
So initially we have a jump, right?
And you said the arrow was yours.
The arrow was mine.
Right.
So
and we had a kick.
So I go to inbound it off that arrow, right? But he kicks it.
It wasn't legally touched.
Yeah,
Correct.
but let me add something in. The people at the table, and we know we have issues with this all the time. As soon as they see that ball inbounded,
They switched.
they're going to switch the arrow.
Right.
So that's what she's talking about.
Yes.
That's
They
the
shouldn't
tricky
have
part.
switched it.
Right. So they shouldn't have switched it, right? Because it was a kick.
Because
right?
it was not
so
legally inbounded.
So the arrow stays
Stays.
with me,
Correct.
right? So then I get the ball, after the kick. So now I'm inbounding and I inbound it. It's properly touched, legally touched by either team. It doesn't matter. Legally touched. Does the arrow change?
But the people changed it the first time after it was
Okay,
kicked.
but no, we didn't have them change it. They kept it
You-
there.
They don't have
So you asking, does it change the possession? Does the possession arrow change
Mm-hmm.
after it came off of you?
After I inbounded it properly after the kick.
Yes.
Why?
Why does the possession arrow change after illegally? Because it's legally touched. Correct.
I thought you knew. You said correct.
Okay.
You don't know?
I'm trying to see the twister.
Okay,
I'm getting
the-
confused.
Just
So
look at the scenario.
So the
Does
twist
arrow
is
change?
Uh-huh.
okay. The twist is so first of all, the arrow possession is mine, right?
Correct.
So I'm taking the ball out of bounds.
Uh-huh.
I go to inbound the ball. The ball is kicked, which means it is not legally touched. So the arrow does not change.
Correct.
Right. So now when I'm inbounding the ball after the kick, now I'm not inbounding the ball because of the arrow. Now I'm inbounding the ball because of the illegal kick,
'Cause of
the
the
violation.
violation.
So now that negates the jump ball,
You're right. The kick.
the kick.
Okay, the kick. I was thinking about the jump ball.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's the thing. And so then not only do you have to look to make sure they don't switch it after the kick, but now
Uh-huh.
you have to make sure they don't switch it after we legally inbound it because of the kick. Because now the kick
Okay,
is the reason that
okay.
I'm taking the ball out of bounds
And not the jump.
and not the jump.
I didn't put the scenario.
And see that
kick.
that can
So-
trick a lot
Nah,
of
that
people,
was- yeah.
especially
Yeah.
officials.
That
and
was the
especially-
trick one.
And
Okay,
especially in
okay.
the heat of the game.
But would
'Cause-
you say that's a trick one though? Because when you go through,
And not as far as explanation.
Right.
On the floor, no.
It
but
makes
as far as
sense.
explanation, I see
Right.
what you're saying.
yeah, so we had that in a sectional game a couple years ago, and
it matters. She was
It
the only
mattered.
female on the crew.
I was
that
the only
matters.
female on the crew, and
Yes.
I was trying to tell my partners, I was like, no, we don't switch the arrow, and they were like, yeah, because we had the jump. No, we're not switching the arrow. We had a
Right.
kick, and the bad thing was it happened twice. It happened 2 times during that game, and I was like, no, we don't switch the arrow, and so thankfully we had an alternate sitting at the desk at the score table,
Uh-huh.
and he enforced the fact that no, we do not switch the arrow because of the kickball.
Right.
And so we go to the locker room at halftime because this was in the first half. So we go to the locker room, and my partners are like, "You got to find that in the rule book." I was like, "I absolutely will find that in the
Yeah,
rule
yeah,
book for
yeah.
you." Of course, I couldn't find it in the the 7 minutes that we had, but as soon as the game was over, I was like, "Here you go." So.
And the R didn't want to believe her.
Well, I think it's not that he didn't want to believe me. I think it's just it's the game and it's everything coming at you. I mean, it can be
Right.
No, you're being nice.
It can be challenging.
No, you're being nice. I'm gonna call it like it is. If there had been 3 males and one of the males had said it, they probably would have followed protocol and done it.
maybe.
But they hesitated because it was a female and they weren't used to working with females. And I can say that because in my 30-some years of officiating, I've had the pleasure of working with more females than most of the guys. So I've learned how to listen to females as officials instead of listening to them
Well,
as females.
To give him props, though, I have to say that since then, he has put me on his assigning list. So I do get games. So I think because of that, because of the fact that I was very confident and I knew I was right. And that I didn't try to like shadow anyone or embarrass anyone. I mean, that wasn't my goal. My goal was just to get the call right. And so, I think the way that I handled everything was a plus for me. And again, contributed to a better connection.
Well, even though you didn't get the answer right, you get
I appreciate
rewarded.
it. I appreciate it.
And,
And,
chocolate basketball.
We've got to
Thank
wrap up.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you the one doing all the talking about we got to wrap up. She
That's
fussed
'cause-
at me all the time. Then
That's
she,
because you were trying to make a
But
point,
yeah.
so I just wanted to back up.
you see how she sits back like she's innocent. This is a regular podcast thing she does.
it's a regular thing. She
It's a regular
takes
thing.
Whatever.
on. Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that.
All right. So, let's talk a little bit real quick about what we have
Very
coming
quick.
up.
Very
Right now, just to let everybody know, we are in the middle of it. Wow. When I turned back that way, my voice really came in bold.
Okay, continue.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of a
we're in the
referee
middle of
training
a,
school right
ref
now.
training class right
Yes.
now. And for those of you out there that are interested in becoming an official, you need to go to reftrainingschool.com and get the details on what we do, the cost of the class, and the dates. And then also we have a tournament
Hoosier
coming up.
3-on-3.
which you can see the sign and the shirt.
Hoosier3on3.com. Tournament coming up July 12th. So get registered. Get those teams registered. The sooner the better.
And this tournament is for kids only.
Yep, 3rd through 12th grade.
3rd through 12th grade. And it's going to be held at
Turnstone.
indoors.
Yes.
We'll have a food truck there, Black's Soul Food truck.
Black Soul Food Kitchen
Food truck.
food truck.
And we'll have Exquisite Energy there with their energy drinks. Bluebell Ice Cream will be there giving away free ice cream.
Yay!
And who was the other partner that we had last year?
Ravenscroft. We want to thank
Ravenscroft.
them.
Yep, they basically provided some prizes for the tournament. So we've got some other partners that are looking at coming on board, and so look forward to being a part of Hoosier3on3.com and RefTrainingschool.com, and we look forward to seeing you all, as you can see us, on the next segment of RefTime.
Thank you, Dion.
Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate
man.
you having me.
Good
Appreciate
having
you
you on.
having me.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So have a good one, folks. Take care. Thanks again for listening to RefTime, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, RefTime is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit reftrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.